Reputations forever changed after the choke job by Duke. Don Staley blew a gasket in the championship loss to UConn, and a new favorite has emerged as the next quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. We'll discuss that. We are out of the gates and ready to go. It's Hot Mike with Hutton Withrow. While you're here, we hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe on the OutKick YouTube channel. Chad, the Final Four delivered. We were hoping for an all-time great back-to-back doubleheader matchup, and we got it. You know, the first game Auburn led. Florida comes back, and we saw great things from a talented Florida team. And then the final 4 minutes or so of Houston and Duke, a game we'll never forget. Houston plays in the championship game. Duke goes home in a shocker, a stunner, given the way that Duke was playing and the way that they, didn't play over the final clutch moments of that game. Still hard to believe that the Blue Devils are not playing for a national championship.
So they're up 14 with 8 minutes and change left when Tyrese Proctor hits a free throw.
Yep.
I mean, it felt over then. It felt over up 6 with 35 seconds left. And all Houston does is go on a 9-0 run to end that game. I mean, this is on the list. First off, not to go immediately to the negative, Houston did a great job of hanging in the fight and making big shots and all of that, and they were impressive down the stretch. And this has been an impressive team all year. Obviously, no pushover this Houston Cougars team. Duke's got to win that game. I mean, this is an all-time choke job by Duke. Missing the front end of a 1-and-1. Cooper Flagg, we're going to get into it, I know, but an awful attempt at a final shot. Dude, you're the best athlete on the court. Don't shoot a fadeaway in that spot. You got the guy halfway in the air. Go into his chest and draw a foul. Get to the basket any way that you can. Have forward momentum going to the basket. Play off 2 feet. Do anything but that.
Can't leave it short.
That fadeaway is what left it short. If you're just going straight up, he's going to hit that shot. He's an amazing player. But that was an awful plan and an awful move there late in the game for Cooper Flagg. So, all-time choke job for Duke. I'm still in disbelief. And now Kelvin Sampson's got a chance to win his 800th game as a head coach and win his first national championship and Houston's first national championship. Houston, one of those teams, you could argue, the best college basketball program that's been there a number of times to never get over the hump and win it. So it makes for a compelling championship Monday, but I just leave that game, Hutton, continuing to scratch my head. And I woke up the next day and thought, I still can't believe Duke lost this game. Cannot believe it.
You know, I thought things really changed whenever they called the over-the-back foul on Flagg.
That was a bad call.
Let me say,
I thought that was a bad call. That was a rough call on Flagg.
That's a call that that would go against me in high school 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact that, so we come in a lot and we are dissecting the officiating. And maybe, the 3 steps, the travel, that allow certain teams to advance. And the fact that things are not called. The balls to call that on Cooper Flagg in the Final Four. I mean, if you think it's a foul and you blow the whistle, blow the whistle. I mean, I commend the official for doing that. The fact that they actually called it on Flagg is what's so surprising to me, Chad. Opposed to anybody else on the floor.
Yeah, look, it's a call that...
And the question that was posed to me when I brought this up over the weekend, if Coach K is on the bench, is that a foul?
Well,
the answer is no.
It's also a call that, I mean, let's be honest about it. If that call goes against Houston in that moment, all the talk today is about how Duke gets all the calls. Everybody's bitching and complaining about, of course Duke gets a call like that. That was a bad break.
The way the game was going,
that was an unnecessary whistle, and I don't even think it was really a foul. On that
it ends up being a 1-on-1 on the other end, and they hit both.
They also, I think you've got to. It's like if the guy dribbling the ball falls down after contact, I think you need to call something. Whether it's a charge, a walk, a foul, something. Too often, officials will kind of let that go. But there are times, and there are guards who are really good at this, that dribble in front of someone and slow down immediately and then have them run behind, and then you fall down and you get a foul call that way. Sometimes refs call it. Most of the time they call it. Sometimes they don't. But if there is a result on the play that is favorable to the team that did the act, right? Like the ball handler falls down because the defensive player knocks into them. We got to call a foul on the defensive player. correct me if I'm wrong, but on that play, Houston got the rebound. Like Flagg had kind of tipped it up, but Houston had recovered the ball, and they're blowing the whistle as Houston's getting the ball after Flagg tipped the ball on the free throw. So Houston secured the rebound. Like, I get it if you're tipping it up and it goes right to a Duke player. There were late whistles throughout that game.
There were.
All night. Like, you could have waited and you saw that Houston got it and played on at that point. Now, if it goes right to a Duke player and you want to call a foul, fine. But I thought for a game that allowed for a lot of late whistles, that was a quicker whistle and one that wasn't.
Well, I just remember I was just watching. I was like, "Whoa!" They called this against Flagg in this moment, and it still ends up going to your point with Flagg with the chance to, take control of the game there with trying to get the buzzer beater.
It still left me thinking Duke's going to win this game because Cooper Flagg's going to go score. Right? When they had the ball.
You knew he was going to get the ball.
Yeah, like thinking they're going to have the ball last. They're going to go down and score and win this game, and that's not what happened.
Let's also point out, for all of the discussion of, the 3-point game now and, the lack of defense and the lack of hustle and attention to detail, the press towards the end of that game and, just the common sense aspect of the sport that Houston plays with, where all 5 individuals form that wall that you cannot get across half court. Half the time, I think there's going to be a violation for not getting the ball in on time. Talk about smothering defense. If you want to turn on an example of what you want, the group at the Y that you're coaching, if you're coaching Little League or whatever it might be, that's the hustle that you want.
Well, Bruce
That's
Pearl
insane,
and Auburn
man.
have been terrific at this ever since Bruce Pearl's been a coach. Defending the inbound play, he gets more 5-second violations than anyone. Houston was great at it the other night.
But the thing is, though, even after they get a bucket, it's
Duke still can't get it in.
It's the back-to-back inbounds where they still have the wherewithal to match up fast, and they know where to go. They can even switch off on different defenders too, which is remarkable how they practice and hammer that home. Unlike any other team, they had them all confused.
There's always an offensive answer in the game to anything that's presented to a team that makes them struggle offensively. This year, I've noticed a lot more of that lob play where a guard will drive and it's a design. Oh, if there's a little bit of help, you lob it up and it's a dunk. Every team does it. So that's been one adjustment to some things that defenses are doing. There's got to be an adjustment on the inbound against the press for teams. I've seen it more this year. 5-second violations late in game, lazy cuts to the ball.
Lazy.
Guys who inbound, you got to get your best passer and best decision maker inbounding that ball. And oftentimes I see teams put guys on there that don't need it. If that person is your point guard, you put your point guard inbounding the ball, and you have someone who knows how to cut
Get it
hard,
right back.
get it to him because you cannot wait. The split second someone breaks and they're even remotely open, you have to deliver a perfect pass to them and get the ball in bounds. There's way too much waiting around. I see someone break a little bit open, and nope, they're waiting for the next guy. And you can't have these slow developing inbound plays. I see it. And there's a false motion through. Then the second guy's also a bogey. Then the third guy's the option. I'm thinking, you can't do this when you've got 5 seconds to inbound.
You got one opportunity.
And you're relying on someone on second 3 or 4 to be open. Like, no. You got to have something that's quick that gets somebody the ball.
And then that player ends up in the corner.
Yeah. I thought Duke was, for all the talk about John Shire, who did a great job this season, that was pathetic. Inbound offense by his team. It looked like a bunch of guys like, oh, well, we're quick enough to get open, so we'll find a way to get open. And it was a mixture of everything. Slow to get rid of the ball, not quick enough cuts, no real plan, I thought at times. But it's not just Shire. I've seen that throughout college basketball this year.
Well, this is what, speaking of Shire, it follows him. This collapse at the end of the game follows him. This is now the narrative of next time he's there, or the next time you have that moment. Do you think that those that were against, the talk of Duke being all this, being great, and they were a great team, that the lack
statistically one of the best of the last 20 years,
the
start to finish this year,
truly great, and not having to face that moment during the season because of the conference, you think that plays a factor? See, I don't.
I mean, the last time
if you're great, you're great. You got Flagg, and then
they lost to Clemson in February, right? That was their last loss, and that wasn't particularly close. I feel like I think Clemson won by like 10, in that game on the road, and then they lost to
6.
Kansas and Kentucky early in the year. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they got a lot of big tests.
Yeah,
that North Carolina game was very close in the semis
of
the ACC tournament.
But when tested, like they in this match, they should win this game. And this is the harsh reality now of college basketball. And this is not just the first year of this, and this is not a headline, but it is it's a sobering reality. You get one opportunity with this team, like the truly great team that Shire had, and you get 1 year with Flagg. You get one shot with your guy, and then that's it. That's what sucks about it, is we don't run it back to see if they overcome and get back to where they were. Like the Virginia team that gets knocked out and then they come back and win it after getting knocked out by the 16. That's what sucks about college basketball now compared to what it was, is you don't follow this team and follow the storyline through.
It's not just Flagg. Con Knippel. I'm looking at Yahoo Sports' latest projected mock draft. They've got him going top 10. Malawak is going to go top 5, along with Cooper Flagg. So really the core of that team is gone. Now they get Carlos Boozer's twin kids that are coming in. They're 2 of the top 5 players in the country. So they'll run it back with the talent on that. And the first headline I saw coming off of this, obviously all the stuff about choke artist, John Shire, can't win the big one, all the stuff already, which is way over the top this early in his career. The next articles I saw were Duke has an infinite war chest in basketball, and they're prepared to spend $8 to $10 million on next year's roster to get right back where they are now to win it. And I'm thinking, that's pretty good spin, right? If you're going to put that out there like that, let's get the PR machine behind it and like, hey, we got a ton of money, and we're going to go get some of the top transfers. And even guys who aren't even thinking about transferring right now, with the amount of money that we have, we can contact them through their agent and get them to come to Duke.
Sucks to be Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
If you're in that.
Well, Manny Diaz just paid for the top quarterback in the portal.
But you're not going to have that anymore.
Ridiculous amount of money.
This is it.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, damn, I wish they'd have won that national title so I could have kept some of that money. Now Duke's hungry. Hungry for success. The Duke Blue Devils program's been starved for so many years.
Skip Bayless, hungry for attention. You see Stephen A. getting all that attention last week. Immediately jumps out and asks about the clutch gene of Cooper Flagg.
And I thought Cooper Flagg could put a move on him, and I thought he could go behind the back. He's got quick dribble. He's got a great left hand, as you saw a couple times tonight. He's at the rim. He's about as good as he's LeBron-esque. It feels ambidextrous to me at the rim. Sometimes I think he's better with his left hand. You got to go create a shot. You got to have a plan. You got to rise. You can jump. You can really leap. You can sky. You got to find and plant and go up like you mean it and take a shot that Juwan Roberts cannot defend. But Cooper Flagg went up with a little bit of hesitation. It wasn't shot with real live conviction and authority. And Juwan Roberts was able to bother it just a little bit, and Cooper Flagg committed the cardinal sin. He left it short. Never up, never in. I learned that in high school from my coach. Never up, never in. Got to get the ball up on the rim, Coop. It's a win or lose shot. You're down one. It's the situation LeBron has always hated. And I've always said LeBron was born without the clutch gene. And now, even though Cooper Flagg should be in high school, I have to wonder, does he have the clutch gene? Because somebody's going to take him first overall, and they're going to have to wonder, does he have the clutch gene? Can you grow one at age 18 or 19? No. I think I was actually happy for the last, even though I picked Duke, I was actually happy we were going to finally get to see Cooper Flagg in that situation. I saw him against Kentucky. It was very early in the year, at age 17, back in November. I saw him have 2 late chances, and both times his feet went right out from under him, and he fell. Happened once tonight. I don't know. And then against Kansas, he had a late chance to score as they were losing. They were losing to Kentucky, tied and then losing. And against Kansas, he lost the handle and turned the basketball over. Nope. So now I've seen only 3 chances because Duke was so dominant during the ACC run that they didn't have close games. So we didn't get to see the clutch gene be tested or lack thereof exposed.
Compared to LeBron went into an NBA Finals game where he didn't even score a point. It's not like Cooper Flagg passed the basketball yet. In that moment. He said that Shire drew that play up.
Just clear out and let him go one-on-one?
Clear out one-on-one, but I mean,
that was the play.
Particularly go to the paint. Like, I don't have a problem with the fadeaway. We see that all the time now.
Yeah, I got a problem with him doing it.
I don't like the leave it short. I mean, he clearly floated it up there to where it didn't have enough heart behind the shot. But the look itself, I mean, we saw the still photo. I mean, he had a good look at it despite the defense in his face.
Do you think that Vanderbilt is going to ask Skip Bayless to take that hat off the way Duke asked HBO to take the Duke shirt off the guy with a gun to his head on White Lotus, now that Skip is giving takes like this? I agree with Skip Bayless that's not the look you want to give. There it is, which this one floated back again late Saturday night.
Yeah, it did.
He should have gone to the basket. Like, John Shedeur designed the play. Like, yeah, we're going to give the ball to our best player, and if they're not going to help off, you're going to go one-on-one and win the game. I could have called that play for them. And that's what they did, but he just elected to take a fadeaway when, again, I've watched the play a number of times. He's got the guy on his heels, and he's got a chance to give a little fake and go into his body and draw some contact, or at least kind of wrap around him and get towards the goal.
That's fair.
Anything going to the basket for Cooper Flagg. Now, I have no problem with the fadeaway if a fadeaway is the biggest part of someone's repertoire and they're really good at it when they get in the lane, especially for a smaller player. But Cooper Flagg does not need to be fading away in that moment. He's better than whoever's guarding him, and you got to go towards the goal. Forward momentum towards the basket, whatever you do, a lot of good things can happen there. You're going to go in and score it. You're going to get fouled. So many good things can happen. That fadeaway, that was a low percentage look. He could make it. It's not a terrible look, but low percentage based on what they wanted there. So for that reason, I agree with Skip Bayless. Man, how the mighty have fallen with Skip Bayless. Like, I just feel like he should have a better setup than that. There was a lot of harsh lighting in that room.
Where was he?
Was he doing surgery in that room beforehand? Very bright. I guess it's like his home studio. It said Skip on the wall behind him, but it's just an odd look. And the Vandy hat?
I don't mind the Vandy hat.
Tough.
Rep where you're from. That's
yeah,
fine.
no, he's always rep Vandy. Nothing wrong with that.
Florida made tweaks to shut down Broom. They got physical with him in that matchup against Auburn. And, you end up the final 5:05, 3 turnovers, 0 for 2 shooting from the free throw line, 0 points, 2 fouls for Broom against Florida. A great, just you mentioned defense and what Flagg could have done. Broom couldn't do anything against Florida. And now we get what's going to be a solid matchup for a national
and even without
championship.
Broom doing much, it was a great game. I mean, both games were terrific in the end. I mean, honestly, Houston wasn't great until the last 5 minutes. Duke was kind of pulling away with it, then Houston went on that mad rally and won the game. But I thought it was going to be kind of a snooze fest up until the last 8 minutes.
It was a separated score, and then all of a sudden they kept it within 6 or 7 points.
It was 10 at halftime. I know Duke was up 10. Auburn's up 9 early second half. They're up 7 or 8 at halftime. Charles Barkley was going nuts in that one. Hey, shout out Elijah Martin for Florida. 2 dunks, not 1, 2 in that game that will live forever if Florida wins this national title. That Jordan logo dunk off the steal, where I'm thinking he's not going to get the dunk on this. He jumped from so far out. Oh, no, he got it easily. And then posterizing what looked to be the entire Auburn team on that baseline dunk was unbelievable. So that guy is going to be not just Florida legend, but a NCAA tournament legend forever if Florida goes on to win it. Those were amazing moments in that game.
Well, and amazing ratings as well. You've got the best ratings since 2017 in the Final Four, 15.3 million on CBS. And Saturday's games, most watched Final Four in 8 years, up 19%, peaked with 20.4 million. You could guess where that peaked for Houston and Duke. It's the most watched game of the tournament, 16 million on average. And then Florida-Auburn, this is true, the first game is going to be lower based on when they tip off, averaging 14.6. That's up 27%. And overall, the tournament across the board, averaging 9.9, up 2%. Fantastic numbers there. And, hey, number 1 seeds. Upper echelon. No Cinderellas.
I was curious if there was going to be any SEC fatigue in that Auburn-Florida game. There was not. And that game's always lower rated, too, because it's the second of the 2 options. They're going to put the better game and better matchup in the primetime late-night spot. So that game's always lower rated. But Auburn, Florida, I thought there was at least a chance that maybe some people would turn it off because it's just a rematch of a conference game. But it delivered with the ratings, and the game itself delivered.
Well, and I mean, the hype going in was this is going to be the best Final Four. It's going to be the best Sweet 16. It's going to be the whatever. It delivered in that and more. And
the Final Four delivered. Saturday delivered.
But here's the thing: you're right, Chad. It's like no one tuned out, even though it was a grind. The Duke Houston game was a grind. It got really good, but the average number is what they're averaging 15, peaking at 5 million more at 20. So people had it on.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the specific, matchup a little bit later, but what we're left with from a coaching standpoint is a 37-year-old,
yes,
right, prodigy type coach that we thought John Shire was this guy, and Todd Golden has a chance to win a national championship at 37.
37.
Right? Coach K was in his 40s when he won his first national championship. And Florida's not going to show any signs of going away either. They're not Duke historically as a program, but with him, who knows, going against a guy who's going for win number 800 and has not cut down the nets for a national championship.
68 or 69 years old.
Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson.
So very
and they
different.
both teams give everything, they go all out.
And there's going to be a lot of great offense versus great defense. Both these teams are great. Houston had buried the fourth most threes in the tournament of every team in the tournament coming in. They're a great shooting team. They can play offense too. Florida and Todd Golden, they play great defense. They all max effort, all out hustle for both teams. Florida's very deep, deeper than Houston with the guys that they play. But
plenty of size.
I just think the coaching matchup is fantastic for a number of reasons. Both not without sin, right? I mean, one guy got fired from a job previously. Another guy got investigated by his own school for stalking college girls earlier this year.
And if you're
totally clean, according to Florida, but
haven't heard about
still, that's the matchup in this game too.
We saw Gino Auriemma in a matchup against Don Staley. I'm just hoping we have a better final score in this. And it leaves for one of those. The crying Jordan meme is one that will last forever. So will the video of Don Staley. You sent this yesterday, Chad.
Oh, this is great. And then the loud screaming.
Yeah, that'll be.
I've felt this pain before. I don't scream that quite as loud, but yes, coaching. I've definitely felt this pain.
This is when the score was actually respectable here at 53-39.
Well, so remember when I told Tyler Castle I'd give the Cavs Thunder a chance? And I turned to the game, and it was like third quarter, and I watched like 7 consecutive missed threes by both teams in the one stretch I watched.
Yeah, it just happened to be that moment.
Yesterday, probably late first quarter of
our
that
national championship game.
National championship game. I'm like, I got really into these games when Caitlin Clark was playing for Iowa. Last year, I really enjoyed even just the basketball itself. I thought was beautiful to watch. It's a fun game to watch, watching this. And I tuned into that game, and I'm sure that the women's basketball diehards are going to tell me that I just caught the wrong moment. I watched, and I took a note. I watched 8 possessions. 5 ended in turnover. 3 ended in a missed 3, 2 of which hit the backboard and nothing else. No. Missed the rim on 3s. It was brutal. Now, granted, I watched about 90 seconds of game time, about 2.5 minutes maybe, but I couldn't do it.
And this is first quarter?
I happened to see that reaction live from Don Staley. It was like a 5-point game at the time. I think UConn was up 4 or 5. But, I mean, it was just matching terrible shots back and forth for both teams.
Final score 82-59. Here's hoping we get a better championship game than that.
And Gino, holy cow, I saw him on Today's Show this morning. Just a brutally unlikable dude. He even makes fun of it now. He said, I tried to get Paige Beckers to tell me that she loves me. I gave her a hug and said, I love you for all that you've done. And he said she begrudgingly said, I love you too. Back to him. And I'm thinking, even his in-game interviews, which now he's a little bit more polite to Holly Rowe when he's answering questions.
I mean,
he's so sarcastic about his team that I'm thinking cannot be an enjoyable experience Now it's enjoyable when we're winning, 12 national titles or whatever they've won.
12 or 13.
At UConn now, the record. So that's fun.
At what point does it get stale for him? Like, you're not energized to do it at this level? Like, there's another challenge that you need? Like, the greats need to have that challenge. It's like if UConn's playing a title, I'm picking UConn.
He's 71, I think. Or he's 71. He said it on the interview this morning I was watching. It's what every coach says. They keep me young. I'm around young people all the time. They're very active. I think it helps me, my health. I like being around them and helping them achieve their dreams. And if I wake up one day and decide I don't have the energy for it anymore, I'll resign. I'll retire at that point. But that day's not now.
Well, I mean, South Carolina, they win that game, and all of a sudden they're already there with like the new age UConn, right? But I'm saying like the true dynasty run that we're talking about. And South Carolina was favored in that game. Is that right?
No.
Vegas?
UConn was favored by 7.5. I know because I bet South Carolina money line.
Okay.
I did not win. They lost by 30. So shows my knowledge of women's college basketball.
There's no way. There's no
Well, here's what I was confused by. UConn was a number 2 seed, and they beat 3 number 1 seeds. But apparently UConn just went on this just absolute torrential terror reign late in the season and through the NCAA tournament.
Of course they did.
Where they pounded 3 number 1 seeds on their way to the national championship, including in the national championship game. So they really put it together at the right time. We watched UConn lose to the Lady Vols when we were in New Orleans.
Yes, you're right.
That's the one time I watched UConn this year. So I was like, man, this can be easy money. South Carolina, Don Staley, we're getting this natty. 7.5-point underdog. What the hell? I'm taking Lady Gamecocks on the – is it Lady Gamecocks? Or they just go by South Carolina Gamecocks?
Well, it's not Lady Cox.
It's not Lady Cox. I think it's Lady Gamecocks. Gamecockettes? Cockettes? No, that's not it either. It's probably Lady Gamecocks.
It's got to be
Or
that.
just South Carolina Gamecocks. Here's what I'd like to devise. If we're going to be all about equal rights, men and women, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to be feminist, which means if you're a feminist that, hey, women are the exact same as men, right? Don't give them a kitschy nickname. Just it's the Tennessee Vols. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks. It's the Duke Blue Devils. You don't have to put lady in front of it. Now, some is seen as like the Lady Vols branding. That's a sign of respect because they've built it so much that it's their own thing that they like. And they want to be separate from the men's teams, which I'm all for that. But like at the high school level, you don't need to.
See, but
look how progressive I am, Hutton.
There are some brands.
Were you the Pioneerettes or the Lady Pioneers at Warren
Lady
County?
Pioneers.
Yeah, we're the Lady Bears.
The Pioneerettes was the dance team.
We're Mount Juliet Golden Bears, but it was the Lady Bears. Still is the Lady Bears at Mount Juliet.
National championship winning Pioneerettes.
Yeah, the Pioneerettes. I always laugh at the teams that have the ets at the end of that's the best. Very old school.
Speaking of betting, right now minus 3,000. That's the odds for Cam Ward to go number 1 overall. The odds now are with the Saints to draft Shedeur Sanders. So they have the pro day at Colorado over the weekend. Tennessee Titans are there. Head coach isn't there, which is weird. Later in this week, they had a private workout schedule. The Titans had a private workout schedule with Shedeur that they've canceled. And I'll tell you right now that removes Shedeur Sanders from the Titans' plans because even if they're going to trade back and draft Shedeur Sanders, you want to spend as much time around your future franchise quarterback as you possibly can during the draft process. They have exhausted all avenues of that with Cam Ward. The Titans have with the number 1 pick. They chose not to continue the process with Shedeur Sanders. Well, there are the New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Giants, and the Browns. Those are the 4 teams that are in the mix for Shedeur Sanders as we sit here right now. And the odds on which team that Shedeur is going to be drafted by, the New Orleans Saints at plus 300, followed by the Browns, again, who have the number 2 pick. That makes sense. Jets and Rams also atop the best odds, but also look, Giants and Steelers. I hate this graph, Chad. The left to right, followed by like the up and down columns.
Yeah.
How would you read this?
Oh God, don't get me started. Anyone who does not list things horizontal or vertical.
Vertical.
It's got like if you're putting a ranking of things, it cannot go left to right. Schedules.
This is like those,
vertical, not horizontal.
This is like those who list the score, like the losing team
oh
first.
my.
Like it's 39-52. It's like no. It's 52-39.
It's 2-5 right now. It's like no, it's 5-2. Who's winning? You say who's winning first, then the leading number first, then the next one. We could teach a class on this. Schedules, vertical. Rankings, vertical. Nothing side to side.
Nothing.
Ever.
Saints, Giants, Browns, Steelers.
Burn this graphic.
Those are the four.
Burn it. Who put this graphic out there?
This is
you guys know?
DraftKings.
I know we didn't do it. This is DraftKings. Screw DraftKings. I don't even know if they're a sponsor or not, but screw
Which
DraftKings for doing this.
Difficult.
Put it vertical, DraftKings. It's not hard.
Yeah, or just make the font
Good
smaller
Lord.
and put it vertical.
That's one thing. FanDuel, I know. I'll give FanDuel a shout out. Every
See,
time
this
I'm
is
looking
much
at
easier.
This
is also your left or right though.
It goes right down.
Again, Saints, Steelers.
That's
Browns
easier
and
to
Rams.
see, but it's still
For FanDuel here.
I need vertical.
Yeah.
It needs to go Saints, Giants underneath, Steelers underneath, Browns underneath, Jets underneath, then Rams. Now imagine that with the pretty helmets and logos and everything else that we see on there.
Fair.
Oh, I can really see. Oh, I can count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there and see. Oh, they got the 5th best odds to see it. This is not rocket science.
Saints. So
by the way, what the hell are the Titans doing? Not exhausting every avenue to meet
with
a potential quarterback.
I think that means they're going Cam Ward, and they know it.
I also think that they would take a deal if someone were to give them everything they wanted in a trade.
But it would so
right.
Teams,
so I would want people to at least think that I'm somewhat interested in trading back and drafting Shedeur Sanders somewhere else or Travis Hunter, or whoever else.
Well, so there are those that think this is like the long play bluff where they trade away number one, they move back and they still get Shedeur Sanders. You don't pass up an opportunity for a private workout to fly back out to Colorado after passing on the opportunity to have your head coach, who's also your play caller, not even go to the pro day, to spend more time with Shedeur Sanders. And when the narrative is put out there that they've seen 4 years of game tape and all that, no. There are more aspects to it than just that. And this is what Jim Wyatt with the team. With Titans.com. The Titans have seen 4 years of game film, scouted multiple games, and now attended a pro day they described as very impressive. You spend as much time as you possibly can around the future franchise quarterback that you deem worthy of the pick. What they didn't do with Shedeur is exactly that. What they did with Cam Ward is they sent the entire possible team of front office and coaches down to Fort Lauderdale. And Amy Adams Strunk, the team owner, even went down and met with him. He's going to be the number one pick. And I feel like they just told Sanders Group, hey, we don't have to do this. Like, don't worry about the private workout. We're not going to put you through the ringer unless you want to do it. Like, there's no reason for you to do it. Chad, the reason why I don't think the trade's happening is you're not going to get the draft haul from Cleveland or New York to move up 1 or 2 spots. It would take New Orleans to do that. But if New Orleans wants Shedeur Sanders, you don't have to trade up. You just have to work. You have to make sure that you're not going to be lapped by Cleveland or New York if you want Shedeur.
Can we put that post back up by Jim Wyatt, please? Because I want to read this last part. The Titans have seen 4 years of game film, scouted multiple games, and now attended a pro day they described as very impressive. Great job, Titans. Boy, you guys are really doing your homework. Let's get state-run media out there. Let's get Russian state media to post out there how much work you've done scouting multiple games. That's completely unnecessary to put that in at the end. Like they need a pat on the back because they've scouted one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft by watching his game film. And then they pass on an opportunity to know more about him. I like Cam Ward better than Shedeur Sanders. I'm not saying the Titans should draft Shedeur Sanders. But you take, as Hutton said, every opportunity to get to know guys, especially at that position, and don't pass on them. Now, if they're going to get some big benefit from this, now they get to visit with others more or something, they don't, then I would understand. But just do the visit. If at the very least, like, we're not playing friends here. Right? Like, you want people to believe that you're seriously considering Shedeur Sanders and would be okay possibly trading back if you gave up a haul to do that. They don't want to do it. They want to draft Cam Ward is what it looks like. But you leave every opportunity on the table and don't tip your hand at all. I think they're tipping their hand with this. I think it's a mistake. I think even if you don't want to draft them, you have them. Teams have done this forever. They know they're not going to draft someone. They have them out to work out anyways. It's part of the process. You have to at least have the appearance that you're interested in drafting someone different. I think it's a mistake by the Titans, and I hate – this is not a shot at Jim Wyatt, who works for the team, and I get that, and I like Jim Wyatt a lot. But putting the thing at the end, like, they've scouted multiple games, and they've been to his pro day, and come on.
Well, you know why they put that out? Well, that
you're
also,
an NFL team. Congrats.
So that Titans have seen 4 years of game. So that's why they're not going to have the private workout, because they know they've made up their mind.
Yeah, they know they don't want.
Now some of that's why even go to the pro day, because Travis Hunter's on there. Yeah, he's on the field.
They described his pro day that was very impressive. Not impressive enough to continue with that plan for the visit. But still very impressive.
What was impressive is it was a media like heaven as far as like how they produced this. It was a primetime show. It was well done. It was a pro day party. Let's put it that way. Travis Hunter, legit, man. Legit. Like, he's the player that I would be worried of passing up on.
Let me once again, though, just tip my hat and congratulate the Titans on doing their job of an NFL team. We got to put that out there, guys.
You know what?
We scouted multiple games. We were there at the pro day. We don't need to see any more. We're doing our job over here.
I will say this, though. If you know you're not taking the player, don't go through with the private workout. What if he tears his ACL in the workout? Hypothetically.
Well, he's not the guy I'm picking anyway, so I don't care.
Well, I know, but like,
I don't like. That's every team does that to the guys, though. Like, and if their agent doesn't think that they're serious about drafting, they don't have to go through with it.
But not the number one pick guys, not the number one pick teams, I should say. Like, if you don't know how the draft is going to fall, you keep the private workout going.
I am only concerned with my team.
You know what this also says?
And if I know if they want Cam Ward and that's what they believe right now, I still want every opportunity for that other quarterback to win me over. I don't want to pass on those opportunities.
But we also, I want to add in, this also could be telling that they're just not getting any offers for the number one pick. Like, worthy of trading the number one pick. And Shedeur is...
You don't get that offer, though, until you get that offer.
Yeah.
You got to play the long game here. Play the long con. And if that means bringing in Shedeur Sanders for his workout and not canceling on him, do it.
Well, if the Saints...
I'm not hoping the guy gets hurt. No one is, but... You still bring him in to do that. It's part of the process.
Saints believe they can stick and pick. That's, Shedeur's a first-round draft pick. I
can also just see the headlines now and the quotes from Dion and Shedeur Sanders. If Cam Ward sucks and Shedeur Sanders is good and the Titans are put back for another 5 to 10 years because of this move and Shedeur Sanders goes to Saints and they immediately crush and he's Jaden Daniels, it's going to be, the Tennessee Titans canceled the visit, the in-house workout with Shedeur Sanders. They were so disrespectful to him. They just went to the pro day and said, he's not any good, and passed on it.
Didn't even send the head coach to the pro day.
Is it a budget issue? I don't understand that.
No, it's not a budget issue.
Then why?
I don't know. I mean, I guess because they've seen 4 years of game film. Again, that's telling enough, is that the play caller and the head coach, who's known for developing quarterbacks, who's worked around the greats, is not even there to watch the pro day and to be around to see the, what do they say? Like, it's different at the combine because you get to see the ball come off the hand and you want to be there on the field. That's why you would be there. I mean, he was there for Cam Ward. So was the owner. That's really all you need to know.
Well, they could have easily just said, hey, we've seen 4 years of game film at every level from Cam Ward, from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami. We've seen it all from him. We don't need to go visit with him. We don't need to work out. We don't need to go to his pro day. We've seen the game film, guys. It's good. We're doing our job over here. No one look over here. We're doing a great job, everybody.
Alex Ovechkin, hats off for not just passing Wayne Gretzky for most goals in NHL history, how he went about it. He had an empty net opportunity to break the record, a night or two before he did.
Friday night.
And chose not to. Well done, sir. And did it on a shot with only a premier goal scorer makes. That was tremendous. And how he went about setting the record. Man. And that, he's doing all these. Did you see some of the highlights, by the way? The top 10 goals of his career?
Yeah. It's incredible.
Like, number one wasn't even the record setter. It was against the Arizona Coyotes when Gretzky was the head coach. And just some things he was doing early in his career, and now what he's doing now is remarkable.
My cousin in Washington, D.C. took his wife and 2 sons to the game and sat 10 rows behind the Capitals bench on Friday night. So he saw the 2 tying goals, and a hat trick would have won it, and that was the missed empty netter, Hutton.
Yes.
That was their first ever hockey game. They have never attended a hockey game, and a friend of theirs at my cousin's church, it's a pastor in D.C., gave them tickets for the 4 of them to go to that game. So imagine never seeing a sport live, and the one live sporting event you go to, a record like this is tied in that sport. Pretty neat.
I'll never forget. Like, look at the difference between Ovechkin then when he first started.
Oh, I know.
And now.
Ovechkin, because my cousin took a picture of him from behind, like the white hair.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like...
he's got the gray hair.
He's
I don't know if
older.
that can be seen on the camera or not, but
He's getting up there.
Look how young he is.
I could read your phone right now better than I could those odds from
Look at him. Look at him then with 0 goals.
Did you know why, Hutton?
And
it's
now,
vertical.
Look at him now.
See, it's a vertical photo that you had up there.
He looks like a
Much
villain.
better than horizontal.
He looks like a villain in the Bond movie or something.
He does. He looks like a henchman. Someone who's like asked to protect the person that's being held captive when they leave and ultimately gets killed.
How about Gretzky being at every game?
Good for him.
Legit. That right there, the record setting right there is how it's done. And the NHL did it very well. So did the 2 of them.